was elementary, so I brought the show and tell book. St. Mary's is in Brookline Village. We have students from Boston, from first grade up through 8th grade. 85% of our kids are from that part of the city. We're just over the line in Brookline Village, from Mission Hill, every other Boston community neighborhood that happens to send kids to our school. So we're sort of a regional school in that respect. In the elementary and the preschool areas, we have most of our kids are international. Many of them are here because their families are studying in the medical. What we have in our school is a pretty diverse population. We have 220 kids. Let's see, 33% are Caucasian, 20% are Asian, 17% are black, almost 20% are multi-ethnic, and 7% are Hispanic. Those numbers may not be exactly right if you're adding up, but that's generally the picture. So we have, that means we have 24 different languages spoken at home. 95 of those kids are second language English. So there's a lot of diversity in the school. We have a lot to learn from each other, and I think in the past 20 years we've just evolved into a very multicultural community. We weren't always that way. The recreation program means that a family can send or bring a child over for a little bit, but not long enough to need an I-20. So that means there are no grades given, and the child can sort of become acclimated to the school. And sometimes those children end up in our school coming on an I-20 as they're older. We have a variety of different ways that our kids come. We have a relationship over time with some agents. We don't pay them. I don't say we recruit in any way. I think the only way we recruit is we put StISS on our website. But it seems because we're sort of diverse, people find their way to us. And in that respect, for our Korean kids, if they come either with a family or if they come as part of an agency, or they're just coming because they've had a prior experience, they all have one common, I think, mission, and that families tell us, well, it's sort of a duty. The competition in their home country for college, the need for the interest in getting into a good high school, either here or in their home country, play a big role in that. So you don't see, we haven't seen, I would say, any real evidence. Now that might be different at the home front. And on the home front, we do have an application process that asks some basic profile questions. We include in that questions for the parents. You know, what is your hope for your child? What would you like your child to experience at the school? How can you help that child? And that's helpful to us. We're not Skyping at this point, but I think today we've learned a lot about how we can go about doing that as well. The dynamics play out this way, maybe. Someone came to my office recently, and there was a real clear dispute between some 7th grade and 8th grade Korean kids. We've never seen this before. It's a little bit unusual. And so as we sat there, it was almost like a dialogue over what was going on. Well, the 7th graders were embarrassing us because someone misbehaved, and it's our job to show these younger children how to behave, but it was very harsh in the way they approached these kids. So we had that conversation. And it took a little while to think through, and I was still getting it. But what we've had always is, you know, the core values, your mission statement, reverence, respect, and responsibility. I think kids respond to, here are the rules. And so over time, I think that dispute settled. We all had a common understanding that in this country, where the St. Mary's way is, we all have respect for each other. And we're all here to learn and work together. And that was the end of that. I want to talk about programming just in one respect, and it goes back to the 3 R's. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with Facing History and Ourselves. We're the campus for it, and it happened, again, another serendipitous event. The home campus, Facing History Ourselves, is in our old high school. They now are partners with us. They have part of our building And in the summers, when they train teachers professional development-wise, it's not unusual to have a seminar, a week-long seminar, where you have 40 people, half from Texas and half from China. So that's just another piece. And with Facing History, if you're not familiar with it, it's a wonderful website. It will tell you a little bit about how that program helps promote justice and tolerance through professional development. And all of our teachers from grades 4 through 8 up have experienced that. And because we're partners, we also have a resource program coordinator who comes up with our 8th grade teachers thinking about teaching something. Well, for example, Red Scarf Girl, are you familiar with that one? That's a Chinese novel. Our program coordinator sat maybe for an hour to a couple of days a week pulling out resources. We have primary resources. Facing History has, it's international, so they have home sites in China, Northern Ireland, Africa, around and about. So I would say that having that experience for our teachers has been, they'll use the word transformational, but it's usually a week-long seminar. Civil rights, Holocaust. One coming up this summer is immigration, which that's where Red Scarf Girl comes from. But I think those kinds of programs for our school have made a really big difference in terms of thinking about what our mission is, what we want our children to experience, and it always starts with looking at your own identity and then looking at your community. So for our kids who are so international, and for many of our kids who come from all parts of the city, that would be Roxbury, Mattapan, Dorchester, West Roxbury, it brings us all together for those conversations. And I know we're running short on time, so if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.